Hi YouTube, I'm Yes or No, and I'm single. Oh, and she's about to tell us how to find love? Shh. Okay. I get it, the irony is strong. And don't worry, I'm not just gonna tell you guys to, have self-love. It's so cliche. I'm actually about to take this, spoiler alert, a lot of very nerdy directions. You're like, that's not a spoiler alert at all. You do that in every single video. Moving on. So I actually wanted to start this video with one of the most annoying phrases I've ever heard in regards to love. And it goes, you'll only find love when you stop looking. That's some grade A nonsense. If somebody was trying to figure out what the capital of Botswana was, you wouldn't tell them to just stop looking for it, right? You'd be like, no, Google it. And don't worry, I'm not gonna tell you guys to search engine optimize your love lives, although I will get close. But I am just trying to show you that that phrase in particular is applied to certain people who maybe show desperation in the dating scene. So it's a way for them to appear less clingy, right? Don't always be so focused on love that you onto whatever comes your way. But I think the more interesting question is for people who already value themselves enough so that they're not just latching on to whoever comes their way, but they're really trying to sort for somebody who makes sense for them. What I'm trying to say is they don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a man who can't get no love from them. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at them, no. No, in those cases a lot, I think you still hear people following the general guideline that, you just have to wait for love. I do not like not having a proactive approach to the most important things in my life. I feel like when you do that, it is like playing the lottery. Have you won the lottery? No, me neither. But it's okay, if finding love is like playing the lottery, then it's what I'm interested in is how do we improve our chances of winning? Are you saying to buy more lottery tickets? Is Yes or No telling us to go on dates with lots of people? Sort of. And so it's what nobody tells you about this finding love process is nobody tells you, you gotta take a proactive approach to go find that person. And ladies, if you're like me and you don't being the pursuer, don't get this confused. Being proactive does not mean you are the one inviting people out on dates. No. I do not invite out on dates, but I get invited on a lot of dates because I do the following. It's a low-key flex. So the reason that this happens is because I nerd out on love, and I have found ways to optimize this system. So there are equations that lay out how you can find love. I'm sure maybe you've heard of them. So there's one called the secretary problem, which basically says, take n number of people that you'll probably ever date in your life, roughly divide it by 2.7, reject those number of people, and then accept the one after that. And by using that approach, your chances of landing on the optimal person for you are 37%. But I don't follow that. And the reason I don't follow that is because there are a few flaws with it, obviously, right? One, how can you know how many people you're gonna date? Two, what if the group of people for you is disrespectful, and so even the best person out of that group is still sucky, it's I would rather die alone, right? And obviously we do not work like this in our dating lives. If an amazing partner comes to us, the third person out of the gate, we're not gonna reject them being sorry, my optimal person is person number 11, bye. That's not how we work as humans. The way love works, at least the way I see it, is we go through people until we land on one where we're yes, that person, they will do. You're that is not romantic. No, but that's kind of true. It's we fall for the first person who surpasses our threshold of what is acceptable, right? And that doesn't necessarily have to be a really bad thing, right? Your threshold can be very, very high. So while the secretary problem might be a good equation for approximating just how many people you're gonna date throughout your life before you find the person you love, it's I prefer to look at love as a giant, sales funnel. I told you I was gonna nerd out. So for those of you who don't know what a sales funnel is, it's basically just a marketing term for how products go through the journey of being sold. At the very top, you're attracting as many people as possible into your funnel, right? So that's usually when people like offer free products because everybody loves free products. So they're like, yes, I'll go further. And then the next stage, you're like, this is all about what my product is. And they're like, oh, this is interesting, but some people don't like it. So they drop out. So, you know, your sales funnel gets skinnier. And then at the very end, you're like, and this is the price of my product. And that's where people are like, oh shoot, we're leaving. And so like only a couple people get through the very bottom of the funnel. And that's how I see love, right? So at the very top, you're trying to attract as many people in as possible. And then, you know, further in, you're going on date 1, date 2, date 3, you're getting to show them what you're all about. And then when you finally get to the end of that funnel, you're like, this is who I am. This is what I am. This is me in my entirety. Do you accept? Right? And if you showed someone all of those traits at the beginning of your funnel, like it's very possible you would scare away even the people who would like, you know, get to your funnel in the end if you had attracted them in a very open manner at the beginning. So, you know, the thing about this is that it assumes that you are the product, which you kind of are. But the thing that differentiates you from like a normal item on a shelf is that you at the same time are wondering whether or not the person going through that funnel is qualified to buy your product. And so this is what I think is so fascinating, is there are two different elements to this. And a lot of times people can get too stuck on one or the other, right? Like so caught up in the like, how do I attract them? How do I attract them? How do I attract them? And some people can get so caught up in the like, are they good enough for me? Are they good enough? Are they good enough for me? That they like forget that it takes both together. And so the advantage of not just thinking of love as some like la-di-da-di fairy tale, it'll come to me if I wait for it type of thing, and looking at it instead as the system of a sales funnel, the benefit of looking at it in that cut and dry way is you can tweak things when they're not working. And you don't have to take rejection so personally at that point. Because it's like, just problem solving. If you aren't getting enough people inviting you out, what's the problem? You're not getting people at the top of your funnel. Okay, maybe you aren't attractive enough to people. How do you make yourself more attractive? Well, maybe you need to be more approachable. Maybe smile more. Or maybe you're giving people your wrong phone number. Maybe you're in a small town, right? And so you fix that problem, and then once you get enough people starting to invite you on dates, you start worrying about the next level problems and the next level problems, and you just keep diagnosing until you get better and better at moving people down that funnel. And the same thing applies to figuring out whether or not the people going through the funnel are the right people. Is you just get better and better at figuring out like what red flags mean like, oh, that's indicating a certain character trait, right? And so I feel like from each relationship or date you have, you should be marking down like, what went wrong? Where could I have seen it going wrong earlier on? How do I prevent that in the future? And because I watch a lot of YouTube, I know some of you guys are gonna drop down in the comment section and be like, oh, it must be such a great thing to actually go on dates, to actually meet people. No, boo-hoo, no whining, not in this comment section, because that's just a problem with the top of your funnel, right? You need to find a way to make yourself more attractive to people. And that doesn't just mean your face or your body, right? There are plenty of ways. There are 7+ billion people on this world, and I find it dang hard to believe that you wouldn't be attracted or attractive to a single one of them. This is all just a sales funnel problem. And I know I have stripped the romance out of love, but in a way, I almost feel like this is more romantic, right? Than just waiting for somebody and just happening upon somebody and being like, oh, we get along. You must be my person. When you look at love as one big sales funnel, it's almost like you are tailor-making this system to find you the right match. And what I really love about this is once you get like expert at this, and I mean really, really good at taking a look at what part of your funnel isn't working and like where in the love process you're having difficulties, it always comes back to like valuing yourself and valuing others, and they should really call it Value-tine's Day. And on that note, you can Value-tine's me by donating to my Patreon. Or you can Value-tine's me by watching more of my videos. Bye.